Before we get to the end of this, there's crawler content, I promise. But first, there's some stuff we need to get out of the way. This is a video. And this video is brought to you by Doc Martens Airwear with the bouncing soles. Because my feet are messed up. And this video took almost 8 days to complete. This video also made possible by cheap Amazon nitrile dipped gloves. I went through 6 or 7 pairs of them because concrete is mean and it hates everyone. Lastly, I gotta thank Husqvarna for bringing me that one step closer to being the ultimate dad. First you get the mug, then maybe a couple of years later, you get the big riding lawnmower. And once you've got the riding lawnmower, all hail Husqvarna, we're gonna get some stuff done. Which begins with an idea and a rhetorical question. You move 16 ton, and what do you get? Let's see what we get. The first thing you need is a lot of space. If you've got a lot of space, then you need an insane amount of motivation, an obsessive level, to where when you go for something, you just go all in. And then you need access to literally tons of construction debris. My neighbor happens to traffic in construction debris, and rather than pay to have it disposed of, I was like, I know a guy that can take that off your hands. So here I am unloading a washout, and then the Husqvarna helping me move it about 100 and some odd feet to the other side of the yard. This is basically what went on for several days. Those are not small pieces of concrete, and they are not light. And my intention was to empty that washout container and build an obstacle of some sort in a section of the yard that is just soft, smushy dirt. So that's what I did. I moved as much as I could. I'm still learning to back up a lawnmower with a trailer on it. Here in ultra fast motion, it looks like I'm pretty good at it. Thank God for time lapse, because I'm basically clueless at it. Here's emptying the final loads of the day. And this is what we have. I call this flagstoning, where I just stack them up so that I don't have to bend quite as much and kill my old knees and back. And this is the target area for what I've moved so far. As with anything else, as the steps go on and things get more refined, it takes more and more time to do less and less work. Unloading a container and throwing concrete slabs on the ground isn't particularly time consuming, it just trends towards backbreaking. So first I gotta build a retaining wall, and then I gotta start cutting into that dirt hill so that I have a place to put all those slabs that I moved. And as you're moving 6 or 7 tons worth of construction debris, it feels like a lot until you start putting it in place, and then it doesn't feel like so much. What we have here in an unending amount is that powder soft dirt that I've mentioned in previous videos. It doesn't matter how much you water it, it's dusty, and it covers everything in dust because we're surrounded by pepper trees, and there's pine trees interspersed in between those pepper trees, and it just turns the dirt hydrophobic. The water just runs across the surface. You have to let it soak for hours to get anything done. And I've got 16 ton of construction debris to remove, so I don't have time to water and wait and water and wait. So we're working dry for a lot of this, which means a lot of this obstacle is going to be loosey-goosey for a little while until we get some fall and winter rain to really lock this stuff in place. I think at this point I'm onto This might be day 4, and on day 4 of these shenanigans, another container showed up, which I wasn't anticipating. I was expecting this section to end roughly where you can just barely see the bridge coming into the sun right there. I was expecting to end right around there. And when the second container showed up, I was like, well, let's just go nuts. Because I was just getting the last bits of it cleaned up. And I got to begin again. I got some assistance here for a few moments. You know you're working too hard when you have to pay your own family to assist you. That's my son helping me out, pull the stuff out of the container. Which will bring us up to the intermission. Because up towards the front of that container were 2,172 red brick pavers. And we unloaded every last one of them, 105 bricks at a time. And then we went right back to the nonsense of pulling slabs from one side of the yard to the other. I had already lost my assistant and was back on my own. Hey, I got, 45 seconds of time-lapse assistance, so I'll take it. We're moving on to yet another day. Doing more retaining wall, moving more dirt. Sadly, there's the shadow of the umbrella I use to shade the camera. Otherwise, I've learned that when the camera is sitting out in the sun for 4 hours, it gets hot and it gets unhappy. So the closer you get to the pepper, the dustier it gets. So I'm getting near the end of this nonsense. Here's the little climb in section. If you're approaching from this end, there's the, I don't know what to call it. It's like a gully. I had placed the slab all the way across the top to give myself some sort of walking surface because this obstacle is pretty far across. But then I started digging in deeper into that second container and learned that it had a bunch of pavers in it. So the next day, we're moving on to yet another day, I decided to pull all of those concrete block off the top and put an actual walkway for humans along the top, which is a fantastic idea because that turned out kind of better than any of the rest of the work that I had done over the previous days. It is a pure luxury having a walking path along a crawling obstacle, which needed some stairs because I put that bridge in there not purely for cosmetic purposes, but because there's just kind of a natural gully there between two big pepper trees. So some stairs are going in, and I'm almost finishing up what I have in concrete slab, wrapping the cinder block around the corner. That's the usual level of assistance I get. My buddy holding that chair down to the best of his abilities. Resetting the bridge. This might actually be another day at this point. I can't even remember. It's all blurred together at this point. I want to put more obstacle stuff in under that pepper, and this is another pepper that the camera's sitting under right now. I would like to do some stuff under there as well, but everything kind of moved to the back burner once those containers started showing up. Because I had wanted to do something along this part of the, I can't even call it course really, because there was just nothing here. It was just a berm of dirt, which was mostly the old RC track. There used to be an RC track that covered the whole back end. The problem was it got overgrown badly, and trying to keep it kept up just became too much. I do still use the flat part of the track for driving faster stuff. I still at this point have more faster stuff than I do crawlers. The crawlers are catching up. And we use this as a walking path. So I wanted to get a nice border on it, and from when there was an RC track here, I probably have somewhere around a quarter mile of that corrugated tubing, and the spikes that I used to retain it, I probably have 400 to 500 of those spikes. So rather than them sitting in a bin, might as well put them back into service. So here's what got done after the 7-8 days. This is pretty much complete to this point. That bridge has been reset. I put it on actual piers. There's a little ravine, which, I mean, I guess I could have backfilled, but I already built a bridge, so we're going to leave a bridge there. Coming up the stairs onto the paver walkway. There's still more opportunity right in that section there to the left. I would like to build a little something there. The next container that shows up under in that pepper, I want to put some wood obstacles, but again, that's for the future. And as my neighbor Eddie, who helps me out by dropping this stuff off and letting me have free material, said that between the two containers was about 16 tons of material, of which just over 5 tons was brick. So this is about 11 tons that I brought in, plus whatever was already here. Most of the cinder block was already here. Some of the slab stuff I had gotten off of other containers. But Lil Yella got the call to be the first tires to touch the course, and I like to go in just blind, just grab them and start stacking them wherever I think they'll work nice. I don't do pre-testing, which has only really sharply bitten me on the ass a couple times because I've made stuff just absolutely too difficult. Generally in terms of vertical slope. Side hilling seems to be okay. I seem to have a reasonable amount of judgment as to what will work and what won't. And I'm genuinely happy with the way this center ravine section came out, because trying to navigate it flat is very difficult because of how I put those tombstone-like slabs in. It's really fun to drive. This is going to be one of my favorite sections just because of the scale of it. I think it's about 6 to 7 foot wide, but at this point there's over 60 feet of running line. It's really long, and it ties directly in to the bridge. And once I have access to more material, it's going to continue across that little pathway that takes you up behind the big pepper. So this is where it stands for now. And I had named all the previous obstacles after Mastodon songs. I don't know if anyone had noticed that before. They're all Mastodon song titles. Drybone Valley, Sleeping Giant, Oblivion. But I'm running out of what I guess I would call fitting Mastodon song titles. So I present the question to you, the viewer. What do we name this? Do we name the whole complex? Do we name it in sections? So let me know. Let me know in the comments below. What are some good names for some of these sections? How should I go about that? And of course, the requisite closing. If you haven't subscribed, please do. Leave a like, leave a comment, and I absolutely look forward to seeing you in the next one.